Awesome. We are so excited to be back here again. Remember, this industry, if it's been good to you, I want you to hang out for a minute. And if the industry's not been good to you and your family, I want to take an opportunity to introduce somebody to you that might be able to help you with that. Take an opportunity to say, hey, Janet, thank you so much again for organizing one of our amazing vendor partner interviews that we do for the industry to make sure that contractors know what's out there that can help them build and grow their business. And don't forget, as a blue collar member, membership does have its privileges. And today we have Dan on with us from Interplay Learning. And so, Dan, how are you today?
Oh, I'm awesome. How are you?
Good, good. I'm doing fantastic. Janet, thank you so much once again for leading just such an amazing part of the Blue Collar Success Group, helping contractors and vendors connect in a safe environment. And I don't know, Janet, I mean, I've heard other vendors say, hey, blue collar, it's not necessarily an organization, it's a vibe.
Vibe.
It's a
Yes.
vibe. And so it's
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty cool.
yeah, that is something cool we hear from vendors all the time. It's just it's the culture. I think it goes back to our culture and something to be said about having a culture inside of an industry that not necessarily has been like keen on always investing and helping people grow. But we've got somebody on today that I think you're going to want to stick around. You're going to hear a little about this. Dan, why don't we do something before we even talk about who you guys are? Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. Well, I grew up as a contractor, probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old. My dad handed me a fitting cleaner brush and I'm cleaning fittings, So I had plumbing and HVAC company in upstate New York, crawling around basements and attics. I was a helper for a lot of years. Um, so grew up in the industry, went to college, dropped out, things happen, but got a job at a local wholesaler because that was the knowledge I had. Worked in wholesale for about 10 years. And then I made the jump to the manufacturing side. So we worked for a lot of the major manufacturers in our industry as a regional. So I traveled the country visiting contractor shops, doing the training classes, telling the story. And training has always been part of what I do.
Hmm.
So I've been at Interplay for about 2 years now.
Awesome, Dan. Thank you so much. And once again, when I see people, I always tell people all the time, either you found the trades or the trades found you. And it sounds like the trades found you through the generation of your dad. And
Yeah.
um, it's funny, man. The trade chose me. I wasn't looking for a job. It just kind of picked me, and it's been absolutely game changing for me and for my future and for my family. It's been so good at giving me meaning and purpose. And I know that many of our contractors that watch and learn, sometimes I hear people say things like, man, I want my kids to go to college. I don't want them to know what it's like to do what I do. But if you build an amazing company, you can have an amazing future. And so, Dan, why don't you do us a favor? Help us today. Tell us a little bit about Interplay Learning, because I know that the industry that we're in has a lot of the generation, it's either leaving the industry or retiring from the industry, and it's left us with depleted resources. And so now we've got unskilled people trying to get into the trade, and Interplay Learning has turned it into fun. So tell me a little bit about Interplay Learning and what you guys do.
Yeah. So I mean, the traditional way of getting in the trades is, either you grew up in the family like I did, or you go to a trade school or something. And um, there's just not enough people coming through the trade schools. So it's still a great path, but what we're seeing is a lot of contractors almost are building their own infrastructure to take someone that doesn't have much knowledge of the trade at all and almost become a trade school of themselves.
Hmm.
So how can we take people that, just have good attitude and good passion and let's train them. So what Interplay does is it provides the structure and the coursework to help people along that journey. So someone that's super green all the way through their career development, maybe from a tech, from a helper to an apprentice, tech one, tech two, tech three, and on the career development journey.
Awesome. And with that being said, this is not just your typical hands-on. And we know that those that learn in many different learning types. And what I love about what you guys have done is you brought the kinesthetic learning into it with a gamification feel. So tell me a little bit about the setups that you guys offer, and then I want to talk a little bit more about some courses that you guys offer.
Yeah. So, I mean, our chief technology officer came from Pixar, right? So if you think of a Pixar movie and just how interactive and graphical and like engaging it is, you take that and then you take the idea of simulations. You know, in order to fly a helicopter or a plane, you have to have 1,000 hours of simulations. You have to have practice before you go out and do the real world. So basically, our CEO took those two kind of ideas and then applied them to the trades. So how can we make it interactive and fun to learn and practice so people can get the skills they need and the knowledge they need in a safe way before they go out in the real world? So we have a lot of video and simulation based training. And when I say simulation, it's just almost kind of like a video game, but you can go in and practice working on a piece of equipment, learn, pull out a multimeter. Instead of just answering like an A, B, C, D test, you actually have to know where to put the leads, and you have to use it. It does this scaffolded of learning to take you along the journey. And we hear it all the time. The learners love this. They're like, wow, this is training I actually love.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I'm sitting here thinking my 15-year-old son would probably love to have fun with Interplay Learning, where he would be doing something to increase his skill, but having fun at the same time.
Yeah.
And everything is course based. And tell me, Dan, is this just an HVAC program, or what all do you guys do?
Yeah, so HVAC is kind of where we started, but now we have HVAC, commercial refrigeration, plumbing, electrical. We're building a lot of solar courses. Super fun. We're even getting a little bit into auto. So lots of cool topics.
Awesome. So really trying to create a fun learning environment for folks. So when you think about what are some of the what I'm going to call, yes, you should do this if you're going to take action on training. What are some things, Dan, that you feel like need to be shared today about training if I'm going to commit to it?
Yeah, the first place I always love to start is, um, you know, do you truly know all of the skill sets of all of your employees? We hear all the time that maybe they have an application, they can say they can do all these certain skills and abilities, and then you put them in a truck and you get them out to the job site and they don't know what they're doing.
Mm.
So, so the best place to start when you start thinking about really doing training is like, what is the individual skill sets of all of my, technicians? So we like doing assessments. I mean, there's different types of assessments out there. You can do assessments in person too. But I would say most contractors don't know the true, you know, skill set of their technicians because, we're in a trade. People have big egos. They're going to say that they can do a lot of things, but maybe there's certain things they can't do. I know when I was growing up, if you gave me an electrical control, I'd burn it out. Like I was not good at
Yeah.
that. Would I admit that often? Probably not. But like secretly, and probably to put a bow on this, like secretly, all of your employees actually do want to learn and grow. They
Mm.
might not come out and admit it right away. So this is a great way to start the idea that training is important.
So let's talk about that for a moment because when I hear people say that their company they train, I ask, and then as you start to peel the onion back, what you realize is they just meet. And
Yeah.
so I want you to realize there's no direct correlation other than it's the same body of people in the same building. Trainings and meetings are not the same thing. And so trainings are designed to help increase the skill and capacity of one versus meeting is more of let me share information with you. So I'm super excited that you guys are doing this. And if I just keyed in on this, Dan, this also could be a good assessment tool prior to hiring to really test the technical skill sets of someone that says, hey, if you say you know how to do all this, there's courses in here that maybe I can select and do that. And so I'm assuming, Dan, you guys are set up for something similar to that.
Yeah, we have some of our customers using us that way for sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
and it's great. And I always position the assessments like it's not meant pass or fail. It's just meant for us to understand where you can grow, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
And
great
I think
point.
this is to your point about meetings. This is where sometimes training gets a bad rep. If I'm a technician and I'm coming to those weekly meetings and it's like the same crap that I know and I've been doing forever, like now I have a bad opinion about training because it hasn't actually met my needs. Now, that person might certainly need some sort of training specific to them, though. And that's
Mm.
what's really fun with an online platform that has a wider catalog is you can kind of personalize training.
Yeah. Good point. I might say I don't like hamburgers, but if the only hamburger I've ever had is one from a fast food restaurant, I might have a bad taste about what a hamburger is versus when I have a good hamburger. And so what I'm hearing from you, Dan, is man, this really elevates your overall training program. And I also say this is kind of cool when I think about it. You guys have VR as well, right? So this is not just assessments online clicking with a mouse. You guys also be able to provide the gamification with a VR headset and the handhelds as though they're actually working on things, right?
Yeah, so when we build a simulation, we build it cross-platform. So we build it, you can use the VR. I have a headset behind me here. You can use a desktop, a laptop. We're even having some of our sims work on just a mobile phone. It's a little bit smaller screen, so it's a little bit tougher, but you know, we build a cross-platform. And what's really fun about VR, I mean, my son's 12 years old. He knows how to do it. Like he's playing games in there. It's like that's just how he does. So this younger generation growing up, it's just a modality of learning that they're already kind of engaged with.
Yeah. No,
So
no, I hear that. So we've addressed the whole training meeting thing, and now if I said, hey, but Dan, what about like content? Is your content designed for somebody who has no industry experience, yet enough information in there, it's good enough for somebody that's maybe a little green but not advanced? And then I'm gonna throw you the curveball. What if I would consider myself uh at the top of my game technically? Example, I'm a licensed electrician today.
sure.
So, is there content for all three of those? And if so, how does it kind of get organized for us?
Yeah, so we have a bunch of instructional designers on our team, and they look at learning models like Bloom's taxonomy. So we do take learners all the way if they've never even seen anything in the trades before. Like let's start with the basic concepts, the foundational knowledge, you know, like level 100, level 200, level 300, level 400. Like we take people through the journey.
Mm,
So certainly there's pathways for people very new to the industry, a couple of years in, 3, 4, 5 years in, just to grow and expand. Um, there's a concept I like to call career latticing. So this is more for like the mid-career person. How can I learn skills like sideways? How can I, if I'm at strictly HVAC, can I learn more about electrical or can I learn more about plumbing? And sometimes what that does is that helps prepare you for a leadership role because now you have that cross-functional knowledge.
mm,
And then as it gets to a senior tech, what I love to say is what do we always do with our senior techs? Hey, go pair up with the new guy, right? Go pair up with the new person. I want you to train them what they do. So what's really good about our content is if a senior tech can understand what's available and go through some of these concepts, what we like to call is a flipped classroom. So if I'm a senior tech and I can say, oh, wait a minute, instead of me wasting 3 hours trying to explain like the refrigeration cycle, I'm going to assign them these courses because now when I'm teaching and I'm mentoring in the moment, I'm that much more effective.
mm.
So for the senior tech, it's actually a great tool too.
Yeah, so good prep, good reinforcement. Man, this is really exciting. So we've covered off on content. Last question. I hear people say all the time they don't have time. They don't have time. And by the way, don't have time is nothing more than a fallacy that we all live in. Everybody has time, they just don't make it a priority. which means it's not that important to me. So, what would you say, Dan, for those that say they don't have time for training?
Yeah, it's actually, I love when people tell me that because if 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 their if their work orders are overloaded, right? If their job boards are full, okay, this is great. How about with some training, we can build some job time efficiency? Maybe I can help you finish some of those jobs faster through training. Maybe I can reduce the amount of callbacks because now we're learning the best practices. You know, it's super great. And when I think about people that say they don't have time for training, they think of a traditional of like, oh, I have to send my tech away for like a day or two to do training. What's really fun about like an online version and things like this is it could be 5 or 10 minutes a day, just
Mhm.
small micro learning every single day. It starts to build that scaffolded of learning we love to talk about. And it's actually even more effective than sending your techs away for a week to a school because they come back and they forget half the stuff and everything else. So yeah, maybe that's why they think they don't have time because they think it's a huge lift. But if a program is set up correctly, it's just a little bit every day and you grow over time.
Oh, well, Dan, you may be aware, but we have a mutual client in Denver, Colorado, and he told me, Chris, Interplay Learning has been an integral part of our ability to get our plumbers up to speed. They have been a plumbing company. He is a plumber by trade. They have since added HVAC and electrical. And this is what he said to me, and I quote, Chris, within about 40 hours of Interplay Learning's courses, I can have a plumber ready to run about 50% of the jobs that get called into our business.
It's super fun.
That's powerful. Lastly, I'll say this as well. I've been a big fan of this. I was an electrician before I was ever an effective communicator. So I have the technical expertise. But what I've learned in this industry is the technician who has the better technical understanding has the ability to generate the most amount of revenue because they're not just fixing what is wrong. They now understand why it's broken and now they can truly remedy the situation. So if you want to elevate your company's reputation in the market for having skilled technical technicians and you want to be able to increase revenue, create retention, all that, you got to reach out to Dan at Interplay Learning. Dan, what is the best way that those that are listening can get a hold of you?
Yeah, our website, interplaylearning.com, or if you're on LinkedIn, Dan, search for me, Dan Clapper.
Okay.
I write articles every week on the topic. Like I love to give back to our industry. And I will say our motto is better careers, better lives. And I think this is kind of the capstone of it all. Like if we can help our employees grow, what does that actually mean? Like that means they're eligible for promotions, they have better confidence, they go home to their families, they're happier, you're going to get better 5-star reviews. Chris, to your point, like this is not just about the technical side. This really will affect a lot of parts of your business.
Mm. Dan, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate your time and just sharing your wealth of knowledge, your expertise, and certainly the offering. And so, for those that are blue collar members, I said membership has its privilege. You're going to find it located in the blue collar vault. How to get a hold of Dan at Interplay Learning. Remember, super important you let them know that you are a blue collar member so that you can take advantage of privileges. As a non-member, we want you to be able to also have access to Interplay. Reach out to them. They'll be able to help you with your training. And if you're interested in blue collar, not a member, you can find us on our website at thebluecollarsuccessgroup.com. You can find a link located in the email inside of this video. And we're super excited. Janet, thank you once again for always coordinating and making this happen for us.
Love it.
And so, Dan, in very good interview fashion, I've got some personal questions for you. We're going to have some fun with you. Ready?
All right, let's do it.
All right, cool. You got to pick a vehicle. Is it a Bronco, a Jeep, or a Cybertruck?
Oh, that's pretty funny. In my garage, I got a big lifted Jeep, so I'm a Jeep guy.
We have a Jeep guy. I'm a Jeep guy as well. I'm glad the partiality got over that. Really quick though, Dan, either current book you're reading right now, a current song that resonates with you, or a current artist, musical artist that resonates with you. Any of the three, answer one.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm always constantly reading books. Let me see which one is here. I think this is kind of answers your senior tech too, right? Like coaching. Coaching is what it's all about. Like if I can develop my skills as a leader now that I'm at the top of my field, how can I coach others? So that's really my fun right
All right, Dan, we're going to find out who you really are. It's one food. That's all you get for the rest of your life. What is it?
now. Probably pizza.
Pizza it is. So while I got you on that one, Dan, you ready? Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
I think it's fine.
Okay, great. And then last, Dan, if your life was a documentary and someone was going to be the leading actor to play Dan in the movie, who would you pick to play the starring role?
Oh, geez, I don't know that one. I mean, in fantasy world, it'd be The Rock. I mean, he's
Oh, Dwayne Johnson for the win. Y'all heard it right here. Dan, thank you so much for playing along
maybe
today.
I'll grow these big muscles soon. We'll see.
Ah, they're going to see the original and see Dwayne. He'd be like, can you get me Dwayne back in his younger days?
Yes.
Awesome. Dan, thank you so much for joining Interplay Learning along with the Blue Collar Success Group. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this video. Once again, be on the lookout for more high quality, valuable content that we're going to be bringing your way thanks to the Blue Collar Success Group. See you guys later. My friend, thank you for taking an opportunity to watch the video and engaging and subscribing with us. We're super excited to have you following us. If you could do us a favor and visit our website at www.thebluecollarsuccessgroup.com for more information about how we can help you build and grow your business. Remember this, you're either winning or you're learning.